There it is. Hi everybody, I'm Jessica, and this is
Mason.
And he is our guitar instructor here at Dynamic Fine Arts Academy. Can't get my words out today. Today we were talking yesterday, and we decided that it would be really cool to do a short video on the benefits of music or playing music in general. And so I asked Mason to do a video with me to kind of discuss that. He found a great article about health benefits of learning music, and it was geared toward guitar, so naturally I'm gonna invite the guitar expert here because I'm not one, but it has a lot to do with music in general too. There's lots of great health benefits that by playing music that would be great for you or for your kids, or maybe if you're a teacher for your students, so it'd be a great thing for you to check into. So today we're just gonna discuss that article, and I will be sure to post a link in the description when we are all said and done. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So Mason.
Yes.
So health benefits of playing guitar, what say you? Why should people play guitar?
Well, I think there's many reasons why.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the reasons why I started playing guitar was I had terrible motor skills.
Really?
Really bad motor skills. I was not handsy. I still not really that great handsy, but I'm way better now off than I used to be. And I think a lot of that has to do with guitar. It was definitely a steep hill for me to climb. I mean, when I was little, I could barely catch a ball, or I couldn't even ride a bike. I was pretty bad. So I think, at least when it comes to my hands, guitar has really taught me to, pretty much taught me how to do motor skills good. And it just doesn't really talk about this article, but I thought I would mention it because I guess that, it's one of the reasons why I started. It was pretty much a health benefit in a way.
Yeah. So, and what you're saying too is like coordination. Like
yes.
The whole catching a ball thing, that's like hand-eye coordination, and that's a big deal.
That's a very big deal, and
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was really, wasn't that great at it until I started playing guitar.
And what age did you start playing?
I think 3rd or 4th grade.
Okay, so, and you started early, which is really a big deal to
Yes,
get kids started early in a musical instrument, because the more they know from an earlier age, the better off they're going to be.
Yes.
And mind you, like, you have extra years of practice in there, like, versus somebody who starts like in their adult life, which is not impossible, just, a little more difficult.
Yeah.
It takes a little more commitment and time and practice. But starting kids early is really a key thing, because I know there's been a study done, and I believe it's cited on our website. There's a study that shows any kids anywhere from 2nd to 5th grade, somewhere in there, their musical abilities, whatever they get before then, it sort of plateaus between those ages. And so it's not impossible, like I said, to learn things later. It just makes it harder. So you kind of fell into that like age range there.
Well, yes, and so I learned how to play guitar, but I didn't learn quote unquote music probably until I was I didn't learn the notes on the neck. So I feel like I kind of have one foot in both. I knew how to play guitar all throughout high school. I just wasn't really professional at it.
Yeah, that's okay.
I had a hard time reading music until college kind of kicked me in the butt and taught me how to force me to read music and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like I have a foot in both parties.
Okay.
I guess you could say.
Well, but I mean, if you think about it too, like the way like kids learn language, like they have to hear it first.
They have to learn, and it's you want to learn language when you're young.
Well, yeah.
It's way easier to learn when you're a younger kid.
Yeah, well, like if you could even get a kid started on a foreign language at a young age to help them like later on in life. They'll be fluent by a certain time, like the way they apply to it, because they're sponges at that age.
Yeah.
So anything you do before that age is really going to help. And I mean, and you said it wasn't in the article, but I think it talked about how like kids who were given or were involved in musical experience, like I think it talked about kids playing in a youth orchestra. They actually, a study from USC said that they had better response skills, like when it came to asking questions, than kids who were not musically trained. It improved their coordination, and it improved their neural pathways and things. Like it was causing them to form more neural pathways because they're having to think quickly, and that's all literacy and just being able to read quickly and fluently. So I mean, it's definitely helpful. And I feel like with guitar, you know, there's so many different things to think about, like, because you're not only thinking melodically, you're thinking chordally, like.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know what that means, like melodically means just like if you sang like sang or played a simple line of music, you can't harmonize with yourself. But when you're thinking chordally, it means like multiple lines of music happening at the same time in a lot of ways, or like multiple sounds happening in one moment at the same time. So it kind of forces your brain to expand the way it thinks about things. Like not only are you reading side to side, but you're reading up and down, and then you're thinking about all the side to sides and ups and downs within different parts.
Yes.
So it's complicated.
It is, yeah.
But our brains are capable of handling it, which I think is so fascinating.
It is, yeah.
I just kind of went off on a tangent there. I'm sorry,
It's fine.
I just love talking about it. So, so what else did you glean from this article? Like, what were some other things that you noticed? It's something about dopamine, right?
Dopamine, yeah. So it increases your dopamine levels, and it was a study done by McGill University up in Montreal, Canada. And they said, you know, it releases a chemical, dopamine, which is basically a feel-good chemical in your head. You know, it's like when you're eating a really good food. Like if you're eating, you know, I mean, I like crab legs. If I'm eating crab legs, I get the sensation of, that's good.
This is the best.
This is the best. So basically, when you're playing music, a lot of times like you get a very similar feeling, basically, you know, and that's pretty much what it does. It releases dopamine in your brain, and when you're playing music, and it just gives you that sensation, kind of you know, eating a real good meal.
Yeah. So, so in that case, it would also kind of relax you. Like, so it also, like, relating to that, it reduces your stress level and your blood pressure.
Yeah.
And I know that there are so many Americans that have trouble with just blood pressure and stress levels. So it's not, music isn't just the thing like, oh, I gotta get smarter, so I'm gonna get involved in music. It's also a relaxation tool.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, if I'm having, you know, a day that isn't going completely that way, I can always go home and play guitar or listen to music.
Yeah.
And that really calms me down. So.
Well, I think if you ask anyone, like, what do you do to unwind? Like, if you just took a poll, people would say, listen to music.
Yeah, you know.
So, I mean, it's really powerful in that regard.
Yeah.
So, if there was something I was going to add to that and I forgot what it was, my brain just lost the train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, just so if you're the one that can, you know, produce the sound for the music, and, you know, it's kind of a self-soothing thing, like with all this, you know, stress and anxiety that we have floating around, that's even better.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to pay for, you know, a streaming account. You can, I mean, you might have to invest in the instrument, but it would be good in general just to have. So, I mean, and just to play.
Yeah.
Because if that's what needs to happen, like I was just telling Mason before we got on here that, man, maybe I just need to start playing guitar to reduce my stress levels, because I'm constantly running all over the place going, like freak out. So, I don't know. Might just have to hit you up for lessons, which, by the way, he's available for. So if you have some time and you want to reduce your stress levels and get better at guitar,
I will reduce your stress levels for you.
There's our shameless plug. And stay tuned for the next one at the end. So anyway, so yes, Mason's really good at that, I should add. He does a really great job. But he's got room in his studio, so you should really consider it. Anyway, so let's move on and talk some more about this article. So it said there was a research group in the Netherlands, kind of tying back to what we were talking about. They found that playing music for 100 minutes per day can significantly lower your blood pressure. I mean, 100 minutes a day, what is that? Let's do some math. A little less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you just sat down and just practiced just here and there, it doesn't even have to be all at once, but if it was just like 5 or 10 minutes here and there, just like to take a mental break, that can significantly lower your blood pressure. So if you're on all that blood pressure medication, you know, you could just like add a little guitar in there. I'm not a doctor, but I mean, that'd be cool, right? Just and learn a skill along the way. There's so many benefits that it can afford you. So I mean, that in itself would be enough for some people, I feel like.
Yes.
There were some really other good points here too, like it can also help, like playing guitar or music in general, I should say, it can also help you improve ADD symptoms and memory.
Yes.
So I thought that was really interesting. Did you want to add?
I guess this is another, point for me is I have ADD. So
Do you really?
I do. Yes.
See, I would never know that listening to you play. It's incredible though.
Yes.
Like, that's crazy. Okay, keep talk on that. I want to know about that if you don't mind telling.
Yeah. So I mean, I have ADD. Sometimes it gets pretty bad, but I think that if I didn't have guitar, it would be way worse than it is. I feel like because you're playing, a lot of guitar has to do memory, where to put your fingers.
Right, muscle memory.
Muscle memory, memorizing notes to songs, stuff like that. I feel like that kind of disciplines your brain, I guess, and to not kind of almost puts it in a hyper focus, I guess you could say.
Really?
Yeah.
And that seems so counterintuitive because what I've always heard about ADD is that it's like it makes it really hard to focus. So I would think it would be even harder to learn a musical instrument because you can't focus.
I think it was harder for me to learn it, but once I learned it, I feel like it helped my ADD.
It helps
you know what
you
I mean?
focus.
Yeah.
Because even though you're sitting still, like your brain is still working and
Yeah.
your fingers are
Yeah,
still
yeah.
moving.
Yes.
So it kind of gives you that occupation.
Yeah, I do think it was harder for me at first. Like I did really want to play guitar. I kind of would play it, and then my mind would get lost and go, "Ooh, I see my Xbox. Time to play my Xbox." Or something like that. Like my brain was all over the place. I feel like, I mean, after that initial hump, as soon as I started playing guitar more, I feel like it got me more focused. I feel like it just, I don't know. I feel like whether it be just learning muscle memory or learning notes, it kind of put my brain into hyper focus. I feel like.
So like when you were doing like homework in high school or something, did you have to take mental breaks and like play your guitar, or was
Yes. And another thing is guitar isn't as boring to me as homework. So.
I second that.
So.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, so in a lot of ways, then it helps you it gets you hyper focused. I like how you said that. Like it just really makes you hone in on what you're doing. So because I read that and I was just like, how does that work? I mean, because I would think it, like I said, it'd be so opposite. But I mean, if you're really like focused on it, and I guess, and you said you didn't even really have much of a drive to learn at first, right? Like,
I didn't know.
So how did you overcome that then?
I think part of the reason that I overcame it, well, there's two reasons. A, I was playing on a really bad steel string guitar that I did not want to learn on. It hurt my fingers, and I was like 10, so
Yeah.
it was like
Ouch.
super big, it was steel string. I bought an electric guitar, and I think as soon as I bought that, it kind of took off. So
Yeah.
I think that was one part of it. Another part of it is I think I just really didn't give up. I really didn't want, like I was interested enough in it that I didn't give up. I didn't want to practice, but I was interested enough in it that I didn't want to.
That you kind of overcame that. I don't want to practice, but I'm gonna practice
Yes.
because I like it. enough that I will.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's important too. Like, you should definitely never be forced to play an instrument you don't want to
No,
play. Like,
no.
you should. And I'm not saying like your mom did or anything.
No,
please
she
don't take
didn't.
it that
She
way.
didn't.
but I mean, there has to be the interest there too, and the want to learn it. And
Yeah,
I think there's and even if that's there, like the other issue is, I feel like kids today, they want this instant, well, not just kids, like even adults I see, like wants this instant gratification, like gotta have it right now, it's gotta be perfect. Like YouTube's at our fingertips, we can just pull up a video if we need to know how to do something rather than take the time to learn.
Yes.
And so it kind of is a great, it is a great self-discipline tool.
I think it is, yes.
To really just like help you to focus and hone in on what you want to do.
Yes, indeed.
So.
It really is.
I mean, based on what you're saying, that's like what I get from that.
Yes.
And I mean, I can speak to it all day long, but until you do it, you really just don't know, So, so something else we noticed was a USC study, like I said earlier, it showed that kids' brains developed faster. That was a really big thing. I posted a video a couple weeks ago about how I thought that kids aren't really going to get the music instruction that they need this coming school year with all of COVID-19 things happening. I'm hearing a lot of scary stuff about what's going to happen with the specials classes. And I actually ran into one of my husband's students the other day, and she had mentioned, she said, oh man, I just go to school for the sports, like the activities. And it's like, wow, that is so heartbreaking because, if they can't get that this year, what's going to happen? Like, what's their school year going to be like? So I think my whole point was I really wanted parents to know that for their kids, it's really important that you get them involved in lessons because, you know, as of right now, I'm thinking, you know, even though my class is up and moving around, we're not going to be able to do that. Like, they're going to have to sit in a desk and learn paper pencil music like I did when I was like, you know, in elementary school. And no, I'm not that old, so I mean, but that's how it was, and I don't want that. I do not want that for my students. And so I think it's really important that you get them involved in a lesson like guitar, like piano, like maybe even voice lessons if they really want it, brass, woodwinds, different things like that, because it's, especially if they're in high school, those are more for like the older kids. I mean, you could do younger kids too, but it's easier as you get older, and that's a class you take. But it's so important to do that because they're going to be able to get more out of music growing up at a crucial time when they're more apt to be able to learn things quicker. And like, we're not going to be able to get that, you know, in regular school. And, you know, yeah, it kind of is frustrating having to invest in a little extra, but, you know, maybe that's the thing that they're really good at, and if they really enjoy it, then why not get them enrolled in it, you know? So, but it's also, I mean, it said, if in that article, it said if they're given musical training, they have their brains develop faster. The kids in the study were able to answer questions faster. They were able to get more right answers versus kids who did not have musical training. And I mean, I think that right there just speaks loads about why musical instruction is so important for our children. It's not just gonna help with, I mean, just, you know, music lessons. It's not just going to help you get better at an instrument. It's going to help with reading fluency and coordination, like you were saying. It's going to help with, I mean, you might get a little history thrown in there, language arts, I mean, just different things. You would be so surprised to see kids who take music lessons versus kids who don't. There's a pretty marked difference there. So, and my phone's telling me I have a low battery, so I'm just going to close this out so we can make sure the video's still going. So anyway, so I just wanted to throw that in there, that it's really important to enroll your kids in music lessons, because if you don't, they're kind of at a detriment in a lot of ways, and they're going to be that much better off, way better off, if they are in lessons. So, and I thought that this article and that study pointed that out beautifully. So I had to bring that one up, of course, as a teacher myself. So, I mean, is there anything that you wanted to add? I think we've about covered this article.
Yeah, I think we did. I mean, really, I guess the only thing I really can say is I think music's just, I mean, it's great for you, really. It's brought so much joy to my life and to other people's lives. I'm sure it's done the same to Jessica.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I just think that whether it be you do it for all these extra benefits or, you know, for fun, to me, it's, you know, really doesn't matter. People should be doing music, okay?
Yeah. I don't think there's any way to not benefit from music.
There really isn't, no. At least not that I can't think of.
Except maybe your sore fingers when
maybe
you're learning how to steel guitar.
Right.
But that goes away.
Yeah, that goes away.
It toughens your fingers, so it's like tough love for your fingers, or, you know, like no pain, no gain kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
So yeah. I'm very convinced that a lot of times music is a sport in its own right.
It is, yeah.
Especially like marching band or...
Yeah, I mean, if we talked about this in college, I forgot what book it was, but some tennis player wrote a book, and he said that the only thing you could compare it to is music.
Really?
Yeah.
Sports in general? Or tennis? You said tennis. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, I think he said that, you know, I guess, you know, if you're playing in a band, you're communicating between two people. You're same with tennis, you know, you're communicating. If someone messes up,
right,
it kind of falls apart.
Right.
So I think that was pretty interesting. So it kind of is like a sport.
I mean, I never thought of, like, I never heard that said, but I mean, I guess the closest thing would be a sport to me.
I think so. I think that's what he said. I'm pretty sure that was my freshman year of college. It was a couple years ago.
But I mean, but it's accurate too. I mean, if you, like I said, with marching band players, like if you look at them marching across the field, like there was some, they put a heart monitor and an oxygen monitor, like on one of the guys from, was it the Cavaliers or I can't remember, but it was one of the drum corps bands, and they measured the amount of oxygen he was using in his heart rate, and after the show was done, and they said it was basically the equivalent of somebody like running a marathon or
Wow.
something like that. So, and that just happens like within a 25-minute period or something short like that. And it's crazy to think that, you know, like they're not counting marching band as a PE credit, because they totally should be if that's the case.
Should have done that.
Yeah.
I've been way more healthier than I am now.
Me too, but I just played violin and sang, so if I tried to march with a violin, I think we'd all be a little weirded out. So, and knowing my coordination, I'd probably trip, so maybe I need more music lessons. I didn't practice as often as I should. I should add that in there. But anyway, so I guess that's about it, and that kind of wraps everything up. But I just wanted to let everybody know that, you know, we are available to teach, and we are here, and we are sanitizing and wiping things down, and, you know, respecting the wishes of our students and whatever they need. So if you're interested in taking lessons, or you really want to get your kids enrolled in lessons, please contact us, because we have plenty of space and we can't wait to teach. I know I've talked to several of my instructors and they're just like, I want more students. So we would love it if you guys would give us a call and, you know, hit us up on Facebook or on our website. We are available. Like I will get back to you as soon as I can if you leave me a message, usually within 24 hours. So just, yeah, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, same thing here. You know, if anybody wants to take lessons from me, you can always call me. I'm pretty much available most of the time. So you either hit me a message or email me, and I'll reply.
His name is Mason. He is amazing. He's a great guitar instructor. So sign up for lessons if you're interested. If not for your kids, then do it for you. Do something for you today. What's your one thing? I mean, with quarantine, we all got a bunch of new hobbies and things. So, I mean, why not perfect and refine? Or, you know, it's never too late to start. So, and I'm Jessica, and I teach voice and very beginning piano. So if you have any questions or want to know more, please let us know. Follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, and hit us up. We are here, and we are ready, and we are waiting, and we're so excited. So thanks for joining us today. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna hit stop. Gotta find the stop button. Ooh, and I hit the wrong thing. Go away.